Okay, let's get right into it. You know the story, right? Anytime someone even mentions the idea of taxing the wealthy, these anxiety-inducing headlines just explode. It creates this really powerful narrative, but is it the whole picture?
Yep, there it is. A headline just like this one. You've seen it a million times. The idea is that there's this huge global exodus of millionaires happening right now, all of them chasing a better deal on their taxes.
And this is the heart of the whole argument. It's the big threat, isn't it? That if you raise taxes, they'll just pack up and leave and take their money, their businesses, and all those jobs with them, gutting the economy on their way out. So, that's the pivotal question we're going to tackle. Is this story real, or is it basically an economic myth? We're going to separate the headlines from the hard data and see if this fear of tax flight actually holds up. All right, so to really get this whole tax flight argument, we have to start with the one economic theory it's all built on. Let's break it down. It's called the Laffer curve, and the concept is actually pretty simple. Think about it. If you tax people at 0%, the government gets $0. Obvious. But if you tax them at 100%, well, the government also gets $0, because why would anyone bother to work? So the sweet spot, the point where you get the most revenue, has to be somewhere in the middle. The entire political fight is about where we are on that curve right now. And here is the critical misunderstanding. The claim is that we're already past that peak, that we're on the downward slope of the curve. The argument goes, hey, if we cut taxes, revenue will actually go up. But when you look at the data, most economists find that countries are still on the upward slope, meaning raising taxes would still raise more revenue. Okay, so enough with the theory. Let's get to the good stuff, the actual numbers. What does the data really tell us?
So, back in 2017, a major study looked at 27 developed economies, basically trying to pinpoint exactly where they were on that curve. And, well, what they found was pretty eye-opening.
Get ready for this. For the United States, the study found that the theoretical top tax rate that would maximize revenue was 76%. Now, let's be super clear. The study is not saying that's what the rate should be, not at all. But it shows just how huge the gap is between the tipping point narrative and the economic reality. Okay, that's the big national picture. But what about a real-world hotspot? Let's zoom in on the classic example, New York City. You always hear about how its high taxes are supposedly chasing all the millionaires away. So are they all fleeing? Well, despite decades of threats, the exact opposite has happened. The number of millionaires in New York City has almost doubled since 2010. It turns out that for most people, the opportunities, the connections, the culture, all of that is worth way more than the potential tax savings somewhere else. Now, of course, rich people absolutely do move. That part isn't a myth. But the reasons why are way more complex than just a simple tax calculation. Let's look at a couple of key examples. Take London. For a while, it was rolling out the red carpet for international wealth with low taxes and loose regulations. And it worked. But when those policies changed, a lot of that transient international money left just as quickly as it came. But here's the fascinating part. During that same time, the number of homegrown UK millionaires, people with roots, with social networks, actually grew. And they are much, much stickier. You know, we saw a similar thing play out here in the US with California and Texas. During the pandemic, everyone was talking about the tech exodus from high-tax California to no-income tax Texas. And yeah, it happened, but it wasn't the end of the story. With the return to the office and this massive AI boom, where is all the talent and investment flocking back to? Silicon Valley. Why? Because access to that kind of ecosystem is often worth more than any tax break. And all of this brings us to what might be the most critical point of all. What if this entire debate about tax flight is focusing on completely the wrong thing? Okay, so what is the actual global migration rate for millionaires? According to the UBS Global Wealth Report, it's approximately 0%. I mean, it's not literally zero, but it's so small it's considered statistically insignificant. That great global exodus we keep hearing about, it's just not really happening. But you might say, wait, what about places like Venezuela or Russia, where the wealthy did flee? And that's a crucial point. But in those cases, it's critical to understand the real cause. It wasn't about a new tax bracket. It was about total political and economic instability. The capital flight was a symptom of a failing state, not the cause of it. This gets us to a really important distinction, the difference between two types of capital. First, you've got financial capital. That's money, assets, investments. It's mobile, sure, but it's also replaceable. Then you have human capital. This is the expertise of your doctors, your engineers, your skilled managers. This is also mobile, but it is incredibly difficult to replace.
And that's the real takeaway here. The debate shouldn't be obsessed with a race to the bottom on taxes just to keep a few people from moving. Maybe the pivotal question we should be asking is, how do we build a stable, well-run society with strong institutions and great opportunities? A place where the human capital that truly drives the economy wants to build a life, put down roots, and contribute.